What's good, fam? Agent O here with an action figure review. And today I have the Tamashii Web Exclusive Avengers Infinity War Black Panther. Finally got it in the mail. It took long enough. I guess there was some kind of earthquake in Japan, so it had delayed shipment on stuff. I don't know if other people got their stuff late, but I did, considering this figure came out last week. Came in the mail the day before yesterday. But it is here, so let us get on with the review. And here he is. Literally right off the bat. I mean, obviously this is a redesign. Looks really good, just like the first Black Panther figure. Nice texture on all across the entire body. The design looks great. The sculpt looks great. I have no complaints. There's really not much I can really talk about. The paint apps that are applied look really good. I love the head sculpt on these guys. Once my camera focuses, I really like the way the head looks and all the ornate detailing on it. This head took a while for me to. It grew on me because for the longest time I thought he looked like a sad cat or something, but it grew on me, and I understand why. I understand the motif they were going for. It's very African mask inspired, and obviously with the panther motif and everything. I think this looks great. I also understand why they did it. They had to make it look different from, I guess, Batman's mask. And the first design, it's still one of my favorites, just because of how aggressive it looks. But this is a really great design too. I'm kind of weird that it took me so long to see how good of a design it was. I guess I was just really attached to the original, the first suit design and how it came off. Moving on though from just the head, no paint slop whatsoever. With it's all one color, one base color. It's all black, but the with silver accents, and the silver is put on properly. There's no slop whatsoever. Black Panther's had always kind of a simplistic design in the comics anyway. They've really I won't say complicated, but they've added a lot of details that you just never had on the original on the movie suit. I also like his hands. How everything's a matte finish except for his gauntlets, like all the metal or hard parts. They're kind of reflective, and it really helps. It just helps break up the look of this figure and make it stand out in little subtle ways. I have really nothing to add. The way the light bounces off of everything, it still has that vibranium weave look. The sculpt, the musculature, it looks good, and it should, because this is literally the exact same figure as the first Tamashii Black Panther from Civil War. It's just I'm guessing they may have used a 3D animation program to change all the surface details while keeping the sculpt exactly the same. So the only change really is just just to make it look like the current suit that he's got on. Moving on to the articulation, because I really don't have anything else really much to say about the design of this figure. It looks good, just like all the other Marvel MCU movie figures that Figuarts has been doing. So I'm just going to jump right into the articulation. His head, obviously, it's on a ball joint, and his neck. His neck helps with the majority of the articulation. His head, he can't really get a whole lot of motion out of it. Obviously you can turn You can turn it and everything, but the neck helps make up, the neck articulation helps make up a lot for a lot of the movement, which is nice. It allows him to look straight up, straight down, or down pretty far. Just like with the first figure, his arms are on butterfly joints. The butterflies come out pretty far, as you can see. It's pretty good. And once they're out, you've got a little bit of rotation up in the shoulder joint, but you can, since it's on a ball joint, if you can see in the inside there, I think they tweaked it a bit, because the first figure felt like these came out a lot more, but I think they tweaked this somewhat. But it's a lot easier to get them out and to twist it to the side, twist it up, twist it all the way around. But that's pretty much like the first figure as well too. Arms, elbows are double ball joints, so you can get that much of a twist. You have forearm swivel, you can get all the way around, as well as wrist articulation. You can go down pretty far, you can go up. You get a lot of rotation out of this guy. Torso, you can go back pretty far, you can go forward. It's going forward is okay, it's not the greatest. But that diaphragm joint helps with a lot of motion. There's some gappage because it seems like they didn't tweak this figure like I would have hoped, but I'll get into that in a little bit. The waist, this is the part that I hated the most on the first figure, and since this is exactly the same as the first figure, it has all the same problems. The way they sculpted these legs really get in the way and limit your articulation. You have to pull. It has that type 1 joint at the hips where you can pull them up and down, and so you have to pull them down to get more of a split. And I kind of wish, he's a martial artist, so I kind of wish he had more of a split. I don't even think with a little, you can't even really finagle it because of the way they sculpted these legs. I hate this. I don't like this. I really wish they had used the engineering, the waist engineering that they used on the Spider-Man Homecoming and the Iron Spider. I wish they had incorporated that with this figure, because he's a martial artist, he's agile, there's a lot of cool poses you would potentially be able to put him in, but the way these legs are, it's really limiting on what you can do, and you have to be careful to keep it from rubbing, to keep the upper part of the legs from rubbing on the rest of the hip. You have to be careful with that. So, because even on the back, I'll take some pictures, but you can kind of see where I've got some scratches where it rubbed up against the hips. The hips are a different sculpt though, because of the accent, because of these metal the vibranium accents. So that's like the only thing I feel like they really changed on this figure, aside from sculpt wise anyway, aside from modeling the accents and all the surface detail. But moving down to the legs, he's got double jointed knees, but because of the sculpt, you can only get it to bend about that much, which is too bad. His feet pivot pretty good. You've got good range of motion on that. You've got okay ankle rockage, and of course you've got the toe point. So that's it for the figure itself. I do want to talk about the accessories he comes with, so I'll just move him out of the way real quick. And as for accessories, he comes with an extra head, but this head has the eyes. The eye lenses are pulled back, are retracted, and you can actually see his eyes underneath. So yeah, and I mean, and that looks pretty cool. It's all right. Kind of would have liked an unmasked Ted, but if they do that other Black Panther figure with all the purple, glowing purple energy accents, that came on an unmasked Ted, and so I'm hoping they do that. And he comes with 3 sets of hands, well, 4 sets of hands if you count the fists that are already on. And 2 of these sets are exactly the same as the set that came with the first figure. He has this kind of like his relaxed posed hands. I think these came with the original figure. These are the same sculpt, but like I said, different surface detail done on these guys. He has this flexed posed hand. I mean, these all look really good, just like the last figure. And they painted you can see the claws are painted in. The retracted claws are painted in on the figure, on all the hands. And then he has his claws, the hands that actually have the claws. This was missing on the first figure, which was a huge disappointment and pissed off a lot of people, I think. And I know I was pissed, but they gave him clawed hands this time. I mean, not giving the Black Panther his anti-metal claws on the action figure, that's the same as not giving Wolverine his adamantium claws. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? You know, you wouldn't package the Kamen Rider and not have the Kamen Rider be able to do the rider kick. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So that's all the accessories he comes with, because that's all the Panther really needs. That's all he ever has in the movies and whatnot. It's kind of too bad, because for web exclusive, I feel like you paid extra money and didn't really get a whole lot. You didn't really get a reworked figure. Like, even with the Black Widow was a web exclusive, the first one from Age of Ultron, but the second, the Infinity War Black Widow, was just a mass market figure, and they made tweaks and changes to that figure, and they made it better. It's still based on the same design, but the whole torso is different. A lot of the engineering was kind of the same. They had the same ankles as the Age of Ultron figure did, like I pointed out in my previous review. And a lot of the same hand articulation. It was all the same, except and that was a mass-produced figure. You'd figure with a web exclusive, they would do a little something extra to make it feel like it's an exclusive. They did nothing with this figure, and that really makes me mad, because this is one of my favorite characters. The movie itself made over $1 billion worldwide in the box office. And, I feel like it should get the headlining treatment that all these other figures get, and I kind of feel like it didn't. I feel like he was discriminated against. I'm just kidding, but not really. I don't feel like they had a lot of faith in this figure selling, which was why it wasn't exclusive. I think they do exclusives so they could make back some of the money that they've spent on engineering and producing this figure, because they know it's not going to sell, because it's I'm guessing because he's not a popular character amongst Japanese audiences. I've always felt that the Japanese market does not promote and push people of color characters as much, which is also why I feel like the Falcon figure is expensive as it is as a web exclusive. But that's me. If anybody wants to enlighten a brother and fill me in on any inside information you might have as to why they've made some of the choices they've made with how they handle web exclusives, I'm all ears. I'd love to know more, and I'd love for somebody to school me on that. But as it stands, that's just how I feel until somebody can prove me otherwise. And like I said, it's all speculation from me at this point. I have no proof. I have nothing to back that up. So that's just my gripe with web exclusives. That's part of my gripe with web exclusives right now. I feel like I feel like they're exclusive in name only, and not really with what you get when you buy one. You know, all in all though, with this figure, it looks really good. It's going to look good with all your other MCU figure art figures. It'll look good next to your Marvel Legend figures, barring the articulation in the waist and the legs and the knees. If they ever do another Black Panther figure, I hope they can tweak it and make it better, and just improve. They're always improving. I wish they would put these improvements in figures that I actually like. You know, obviously I'm a Black Panther fan, so I had to have this figure, but you know, but like I said, I try to keep it real when it comes to whether the figure was put together well and everything. But yeah, so that's gonna pretty much do it. If you have any comments, questions, criticisms, complaints, leave all that stuff in the comments section below. I'd like to hear what other people think about the figure, whether they're trying to collect it or not. I suggest you get this figure while you can, before the aftermarket price goes sky high, if it's a figure you want. You know, hit that like and subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you get updated on all my most recent uploads, and I will catch you guys on the next action figure review. I'm Agent O, and I'm out. Peace.